Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me and choosing to spend your time watching this video. Today I will be making together with you another office organizer. This is just a little recap of what I have previously done. I completed this one originally, and that was pretty much my prototype when I was actually working on the design. So I made this one, which I did show it to you in a walkthrough, so I will not spend too much time on this, but this is the first one that I made. So after I made this one, I decided to make very slight modifications, and I was actually working on this one while recording. What happened was the light started to flicker and it went off for about a second or two. Well, that was enough just to shut down everything. I looked at the camera, it seemed like it was still recording, so I proceeded. So it happened second time and a third time. And I think by the second time or third time I was editing my video and I have no idea what happened to the files. They just disappeared. So it seemed like I have completed just about half of the project editing my video. Then I had maybe one clip and the rest of it was gone. So when I realized that one clip was gone, I figured, well, let me just make this little portion. I uploaded that little portion to the video, kept on editing, and then I noticed that all of my other clips are totally gone. So I said, forget it, let's just redo this from scratch. So this was actually the second one that I was recording and editing. So now I guess third try is a charm. So let's see how this one is gonna work out. I hope you truly gonna enjoy this video. I think that this one came out so nicely. I will re-record this again. And I did have fun of working on this. I was just disappointed that I lost all of that and all of my work. But anyway, so getting back to this project, by now I should remember all of the dimensions, but I actually pre-cutted some pieces. So I was trying to make this video a little bit shorter than usual. So what we will use chipboard, 2 pieces, 8.5 by 1.5, 1 piece of chipboard, 8.5 by 2, 2 pieces of chipboard, 8.5 by 5.5. The outside of the cover, for the outside I will use this paper, and this is from this collection, the Paper Studio cardstock. There is a total of 60 pages in here, and I purchased this one in Joann Fabrics. They usually have 40% off, so I thought it was a very good deal. And I hope you can see how pretty those designs are. And it seems like no matter which paper you choose, they will all work together. So for the outside cover, we will use 1 piece 12 by 12 and 1 piece I did pre-cut to 12 and 6 3/4. So I will go over all of the dimensions as we go. I do have other things pre-cut, but let's just start working on this project. So those 2 pieces we need to glue, and I will quickly position just to make sure I have the paper laid out correctly. It's a directional paper, so this has to be the front. Okay, so we will lay it this way. So this is, let me make sure. Yes, this is the height, 12 inches. This is the smaller piece, also with the height 12 inches. I will apply glue right here. And there's a little bit too much glue. Okay, let me squish this so it's stuck. Okay, I have the right position. So the way we're gonna glue this, we're gonna keep approximately 1 inch border all around. So we're gonna glue it this way. Just like that. So we will leave approximately 1/8 of an inch space in between the chipboard. And when you glue in those pieces, I would suggest to put something right at the edge in here, just to make sure that all your pieces are aligned straight going across. So I will glue the first piece with you, and then I will complete rest of it off camera, just so you are not watching me just applying the glue. I want to take you through the whole entire process. So okay, so I will glue other pieces just like that with the 1/8 of an inch space in between, and I will be right back. Okay, so I glued all the pieces together, and you can see that we need to trim this side. This is just too much paper. We need to leave approximately 1 inch. So let me trim this. Okay, so now we will score all around the way I usually do. On all 4 sides. And now we're gonna bend this on all 4 sides. And now I will go all around with the spatula to make those really nice sharp edges. And this is additional step, but I think it just makes huge difference to the finished project. I think it looks really professionally done. So this is the reason I want to make this extra step, to make sure that the finished project looks really nice. So now we will miter the corners, and when I miter my corners, I try to leave little space, just about the thickness of the board. This is how much paper I want to leave right here in a corner. Okay, and now we will glue all these sides together. Please pay attention to wherever the joint of the two papers is, because that portion is just a little bit thicker and it tends to pick up. So just work a little bit just to make sure that everything is glued. And now I am not pushing too hard, I am just going back and forth with my spatula just to create that little crease in here. You don't want to push it too hard to break the paper. So basically by doing this, we are almost training the paper to fold this way. So I'm gonna do on all sides, just like that. So now you can see when we fold, nothing is buckling anywhere around. And we are ending up with nice structure, nice cover for our piece. So now we need to pre-cut cardstock, and I chose white one to cover all those spaces right here. So I pre-cut already one piece at 8 and 4.5, and I have two pieces for this side, 8 by 1.5. So I will start gluing on this side, and I will hide my writing. And you try to position this kind of on the middle of where the chipboard is almost butting together. This is where there's that space, 1/8 of an inch. So I'm trying to have that space right on the middle, and I'm trying to position this piece on the middle from the end of the cover and the beginning of the cover. So I'm trying to make sure that this space and this are pretty even. They don't have to be exact the same, but it's nice when they are close enough. So now I'm gonna do the same thing with the second piece. The second piece, when you lay it and you try to glue it, if you keep the same distance in here, then it means that you position this pretty straight. Just a little hint. Now, this piece that is 8 by 4.5, we need to score. So we will score at 1 3/4, 2 1/4, and 2 3/4. So now we will fold that in half, and then to the outside we turn it around and fold this piece to the outside. So you're creating almost that like an M shape right here. So this portion in here, that's a preparation for our page, right on the middle of our piece. So we're gonna glue this together, just like that. Let's make sure it's stuck. And then when we open this up, you see the glue is still wet. Okay, now it's stuck. So now we want to position this middle piece on the middle between this space and that space, just the way it is right here. Now when you fold those two pages, those two little scores could be your guide. So when you position like this, you should have approximately 3/4 of an inch on this side and 3/4 of an inch on this side. And this is how we're gonna glue this. Okay, so now I'm gonna bend this a little bit. And I think I have it straight. So let's make sure this is all stuck. And now this glue dries really quickly, but I'm gonna wait another minute or two just to make sure it's stuck. I don't want to start bending pages and disturb this paper. So the glue I'm using, it's a art glitter. It dries clear. I really love this adhesive, and I have been using this for a very long time. So I think this is stuck. So now with the spatula I'm trying to find that crease. So I'm picking up the page and you can see it, that the crease is beginning to form right here. So as I'm working this, I'm trying to work and fold at the same time. Now we have this nice crease in here. I will do the same thing to this one. So you can almost pull this side up and check where the crease is, and just work this a little bit to make sure it's nice and even. So as I go back and forth, I'm trying to push this cover so it's closing. And you can see that everything is glued really nicely on both sides. And now we can close this side. So we're gonna turn around and we're gonna do the same thing to this side. Here it is, a little score. So now I'm gonna work this, and don't push too hard. It's better to make this crease for a little bit longer, but not to break that paper. So this one is done, and we do the same thing with this one right here. Okay, so we are almost training that paper. You don't want to just push it down because you might break this paper right here. That's why we are almost working it. And you can see everything is glued the way it should be. So for the next step, to cover the inside, I chose to use this paper. It's from, all of the paper that I'm using is from the same pack. So I cut two pieces, 8 1/4 by 5 1/4. Got my little cheat sheet here. 8 1/4 and 5 1/4. Then I have two pieces, 8 1/4 by 1/2 inch. We're gonna position in here, but I want my writing on the bottom. So this is the second piece, 8 1/4 by 1/2. Now we have one piece, 8 1/4 by 1 1/4. We're going to position like this. And then we have one piece, 8 1/4 by 1 3/4. So I will start gluing from this side. I'm gonna do those two panels with you. The rest of it I will finish off camera. But I want to show you what I'm paying attention to while gluing these. And you know, some people might want to glue it from the middle, you know, middle panels first. But what I notice is when you do the outside panel first, if you position your paper so it's approximately 1/8 of an inch space all around, you will know that it is even. And at the same time you can see it that we are covering this piece, the white piece. So this is done. So now we're gonna glue this piece, and this one is 8 1/4 by 1 1/4. So now I'm positioning on the middle in here, in between those two scores, trying to make it as even as I can with this piece. And then on the top, if you pay attention to those two scores, you will position this right on the middle. So we got this one done. So now I'm gonna finish the rest of these pieces. I'm gonna glue them and I will be right back. Okay, so I glued all of the pieces together. So now we will work on creating this page right here. So we're gonna make the page, or extend this little flap and make the page right here. To do that, I pre-cut another chipboard. The dimensions are 8 1/4 by 4 1/4, and I did pre-cut paper to cover this, and the paper dimensions are 6 1/4 by 10 1/4. So basically we will just cover this, but not 100%, and I will show you what I mean by that. So I will apply the glue, just like that, and we will try to position this on the middle. You don't have to be exact, it will still work, but you want to do it as straight as you possibly can. So let's make sure that this is all stuck. And now we will score all 4 sides the way we normally do. So we will fold that, and we will run with the spatula right against all of the corners to get this really nice crease on all 4 sides, just like that. And now put the piece just the way I have it, the long side towards you. So over here on this side, we're gonna leave little space, approximately 1/8 of an inch, and we will cut it straight down. We will do the same thing on this side. We are cutting just straight down. And I think mine angled just a little bit. Okay. So now, this flap, we're gonna leave it as is. We are not gluing anything. So when we turn, we're gonna miter this corner just a little bit, small angle. We will miter this one. And this one. This fourth one, we cut it straight right here. So now we're gonna angle a little bit on this side, maybe a little bit more. So now, this side with the straight cut, it's gonna face you, and we're gonna glue those 3 sides only. So let's make sure this is all stuck. And the third side, this is the last side that we will glue. Okay, just like that. So this one, we're gonna leave it alone. We are not touching this one. So you can see we got just one side cover. Now what we need to do, and I will do this with you, I couldn't do this ahead of time because we need to measure this piece from the beginning of the chipboard to the end. It's 4 1/4, which means I'm gonna have to cut strip 1/2 inch longer. That's gonna be 4 3/4. And this side, it's 8 1/4. I will cut this size exactly 8 1/4. We might have to trim it a little bit later on, but I don't want to cut. My first cut, I don't want it to be too short. So this side will be 8 1/4. So I will take this paper and I will cut the length, and let me get my cutter. So I will cut 8 1/4. You could cut just a hair shorter, but not much. Don't go much shorter than 1/16. So you could cut 8 1/4 or 8 3/16. Now this way we will cut to 4 3/4. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to glue this right on the top on this side. And what I'm looking for, I want to make sure that I cover all of it. So you can see that there isn't much left in here, and in here. But we don't want this paper to be too long and stick out on the outside of that. So this is the reason why I couldn't pre-cut this. I had to leave until this piece is done. So what we're gonna do in here, we know that this whole entire thing will be covered. So I'm gonna apply glue not on this white piece, just on where the chipboard is. Just like that. All the way around. And I'm trying not to put too much glue on the outside, on the border. So now when I position this, I'm paying attention to my corners. I want to go as close to the corner as I can without paper coming out on the other side. So I don't know if you can see, I have just a tiny bit, almost 1/16 showing in here. That's what I'm looking for, because this is actually our page. So now when you look on this side, you can see this white sticking out, but that's okay, because now there is a chipboard right here, and we're gonna take our scoring tool and we're gonna score just like that against the chipboard. Now I'm gonna fold this over and now I need to cut this white paper off. So you can use scissors. I'm gonna use my ruler. And I'm just gonna cut this out. And I didn't cut it all the way through, but that's okay. Let me reposition this again. Okay, now it's off. And the reason why we cut this way is because right here in between, this is where we will trap this little piece. So you almost need to put this piece right on the inside, just like that. Now, if I fold this backwards, you can see this is the flap, and I'm trying to glue this right here. Now, our page, it's a little bit taller than this little flap, and that's okay because we want to trap that on the inside. Now, when I position this page, I'm leaving approximately 1/8 of an inch of a space. You don't want to butt this together because then you're not going to get the fold that we need. So I'm going to apply glue right here on that flap. Just like that. And I want to make sure that nothing shifted. I still have about 1/8 of an inch space left. And now I'm gonna glue this just like that. So let's make sure that all of this adheres, including the ends. I will turn this around, and you can see that now when I turn, I get this one step. This is what I was looking for. So now, when I put this all the way flat, I'm gonna open up this little flap and I'm gonna apply glue on this side. And this is how we're gonna trap that little piece from the base. So now let's make sure that everything sticks. Okay. So now, when I fold this over, you can see that I'm creating that step, and just don't do it too soon. We need to make sure that this glue is really stuck, that everything, the paper adhered on both sides. So for this part, you have to be a little bit patient. Okay, so here is our page. So now you see this one, it's kind of moving, and we will have enough space in here for our pen. So now we're gonna work on our notebook. So the notebook is gonna go on the back panel, just like this. And to cover that notebook, I just took a paper that I had left, and I did cut it too. I left the length the way it was, 12 inches. If you have a little bit shorter piece, that's okay also. The most important dimension in here, it's the length of your notebook, which is 8 inches, plus another about half an inch for this, and you probably want minimum of 1 inch on the back, which means you really shouldn't have anything shorter than 9.5 or 10 inches. I have 12, and I will leave this one alone, just the way it is. And I'm going to show you why it doesn't really matter how long it is. So the notebook width, it's 5 inches. I did cut this into 5 inches and 1/16. The reason why I did this is because when you glue in this front and it shifts a little bit, you're gonna see the notebook, and we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that your whole entire front is covered. So what I did, when I stood the paper and the notebook, then I just made the crease right here on the front and on the back. So you can see that we will cover the front, the top, and whatever it is on the back. If your paper is 10 inches, so you're gonna have overlap in here, maybe 1 inch, maybe a little bit more. And that's why it's fine, it doesn't really matter. So after you pre-fold this, you can really start gluing this piece because you got your form created. But I would always start from the front because this is the most important piece. When you open your folder, this is the first thing you see. So you want to make sure that it's perfect. So what I did is I opened this up, and I want you to see it, but maybe I do this. So I will apply glue right here on the top. Just like that. I will put the paper on the front to make sure that I have everything aligned correctly and it's nice and straight. So you see that fold, it comes down almost automatically, and you still have few seconds or so to adjust it. So now when I close this, I will just lay it flat and go over with my spatula just to make sure that the glue really adheres to the paper and to that top of the notebook. Just like that. And you need to give, I don't know, a minute or so time so that adheres. But for the video purpose, I'm just gonna open this up, apply a little bit extra glue right there, all the way here around, and we're gonna glue this to the back. Now when you glue it to the back, try to stretch it a little bit so you don't have really overhang on each side. So now we're gonna squish it a little bit, and I do have a little overhanging here, which is okay because you can take your sharp blade, you can take your X-Acto knife and just run it just like that, but I have to take sharper blade to do that. I'm gonna do it this way so I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, I cut this all the way across and trim a little bit of the top, and we have our beautiful cover done. So now the whole entire notebook I just glued to the base. I try to position kind of on the middle, or you can position a little bit higher to cover the paper, however you like it. And we're just gonna glue this to the back of our notebook or our cover. Okay. So I'm trying to center this just like this, and we will squish it to make sure that everything adheres. You can open this up and go from the bottom right here against the board, and your notebook is done. So now we have that flat surface in here, so we can work on our weekly planner. So this is the planner that I purchased from Dollar Tree, and this is the one I used in my previous projects I made. So for this one, I pre-cut my paper to 6 3/4 by 5. So the 5 is the width, 6 3/4 is the height. And you can see it that it's a little bit taller than my notebook. Again, I prefer to pre-glue this and then trim it off, then cut to size, and then you're gonna end up with something not really even on the front. So the way we're gonna do this is I'm gonna apply glue right here on the front of the planner, and try not to go too close to the edge, because you see my bead is a little bit thicker, so if it spreads I don't want it to go and actually close off that weekly planner and glue the pages. So I'm gonna do it just like that. I want the roses on the front, So now I'm lining up this corner and the bottom, and then I make sure that I have everything squared off and I do not see the original cover of the of that weekly planner. So now we make sure that the glue adheres. And I think my blade is not sharp enough, so I had something in here from the paper cut. You can see a little. Okay, so now we have our cover, and you see I mentioned to you that it will stick out a little bit. So now you can take the scissors, or I will just trim it, and you can use X-Acto knife for this. Just go all the way across, and over here you can angle it a little bit, just a tiny bit on both sides, just so when we glue this, nothing is going to stick out on the front. So our front is done. So now we're going to work on this and the back. So I'm going to just apply glue just like that in here. We're going to square off the back and we fold this over. Just like this. I will run the spatula right here on the back, and I will help to create this really nice finish on the side. Okay, we have covered our planner. So now we can just glue it to our base. I didn't even remove the label because it does not matter. We're gonna cover this anyway. Okay. So I try to glue this on the middle. We will squish it to make sure it adheres, and then you can open up and go from inside to kind of push it down to spread that glue, just like that. And because this piece is a little bit heavier, I would just leave it like this, laying flat, maybe for a minute, maybe 2 minutes, just to make sure that everything adheres. I understand that the glue dries fast, but at this point, because we did so much work, we don't want to mess with that. So it's better just to leave it for another minute or 2. Okay, so I think this is dry. So now I will work on this side. So on this side, in my previous projects, I did this. In this one, I did that. So in both cases, I used the little flags and little sticky notes. I bought them in Dollar Tree store. I guess they are made by this company, Sticky Note Collections. Dollar Tree store has them in different colors. This is the last neutral that I have, so I think this one will look So you can position them, you can apply whichever ones you like. I used, in my project, I used the little flags. So I am just gonna cut them out. Okay, and now I just trim the sides to make it nice, because all of these, they are glued to this board, and you can use the whole thing on some other projects if that's what you like, but I chose to use only portions of it. So I will glue the flags right on top. I just want to make sure I position the right way. And I keep on picking if it's still recording. I want nothing to go wrong. Okay. Just like that. Now, while we are doing this, if you really like this video, if you like the project, if you like the projects that I have been making, please hit like, share, comment and subscribe. That is tremendous help to my channel, and I would really appreciate it. It really helps me a lot, and I would be very grateful if you can do that. So anyway, going back to the project, now it's a matter of what do you choose to put it in here. And these two won't fit, but we can put those two. So we can cut this out and I trim it to size. And these are two. So I will separate them and trim them. So we can put two of these maybe like that. And we have spot maybe for one more. Maybe I choose this one. Just like that. I think this is nice. So let's just glue this. Okay, I'm gonna glue this one. And we're gonna glue that one. Again, I don't want to overdo it with the glue, so I don't glue the sticky pads to itself. Okay, so now we have this page done. And now we can work on our little pockets. To create the pockets, for the larger one, I cut, let me put this aside, I cut paper to 5.5 and 4 1/4. And we need to score this. So the side that measures 4 1/2, we're gonna score at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Then we will score at 3 1/2 and 4. We will turn this around just like that to the side, and we're gonna score at 1/2 and at 1 inch. So that's one packet. And then I cut second piece for second packet. This is the smaller one. So I cut the paper to 4 1/2 by 4. So the side that measures 4 1/2, we're gonna score at 1/2. We're gonna score at 1. We're gonna score at 3 1/2 and 4. We turn this to the side, and we're gonna score at 1/2 and at 1. So this is our small packet. And then I cut two pieces, 2 1/2 inches by 3. So the 3-inch side, we're gonna score only at 1/2. We will do the same thing on the other piece, just score at 1/2. And this is the 3-inch side. So both our covers are gonna be the same size. So we will start working with the larger one. So this is the one that measures 5 1/2 by 4 1/2. So we will work on our scores. Let's just fold all this just like that, and the bottom. So now I will mark this . I will mark with my pencil so you can see this is where the two scores meet. This is the first score and the second, first score and the second. So I'm gonna mark it where we're gonna be cutting. And the same thing on this side. So this is the first score and the second, first score and the second. So where the second scores are meeting, right here, that's where we're gonna cut. So we're gonna cut straight down and cut out, we will cut out that little square on both sides. Just like that. Since we are doing that, let's pick up our smaller packet and fold this over. Just like that on all sides. And here where our scores are is the second score from this side, second score from that side. And we will do the same thing. We will just cut out that square right here on both sides. So now I think it's very helpful to use double-sided tape. If I see where this ends, here it is. So we can cut only just a little piece and apply it right here to the bottom flap. And really, you just need very tiny piece, so almost like a little dot. On both sides. And I will do the same thing to this one. So this is the bottom. We're gonna put just a little tape right here. And one more on this side right here. So let me make sure that this is stuck. Just like that. And we did that because when we peel off the backing, from both pieces, now we want to glue the side right here in a corner. Just like that. And we do the same thing to this side. So I put my finger underneath, position this the way I want it, and just squish it to make sure that the tape holds. And this is our packet. And we do the same thing on this side, on this one, the taller one. So we fold that just like this. And you see, you have to put your finger underneath to kind of squish this, otherwise it's not holding. And the same thing right here. Just like that. You can help the scores. And here is our first packet, and this is the second one. So now, if you want, you could use glue or you could use tape. We can apply tape to the side. I might apply it tape and a glue. I just want to make sure that this is the right side where I'm applying the tape, because basically you can tape both of these together. So you want to make sure if you apply tape to the shorter piece that this is the piece that it's going to go against that large one. So now when I remove the backing, I can almost slide them together just like this, and then from inside you can squish them with your finger to make sure it's stuck, and this way you can see it that they are positioned evenly and they look nice, just like that. So just clean this up a little bit. So now when we take our folder, we can glue it just like this. So I am gonna apply glue. Before I apply glue, I will trim these corners a little bit just to snap them, just a little angle from the first score to the end. Just like that, just so they are not visible when you close it. It has a nice finish. So now I'm gonna apply glue on those flaps all the way around. just like that, and we will position this right here. Now you may have to help the sides a little bit, however you want it. So now I'm gonna turn this around, and I'm just gonna squish it a little bit with the ruler just to make sure that all of that adheres. So I'm gonna do the same thing to this one. Okay. So now these are the two pieces that we scored at 1/2 inch. So we're gonna just fold them over, and that will become the closure. Now what you may want to do is kind of run your bone folder from underneath to make this little, almost like a curve. So when you glue this, you can see it that has a tendency to kind of go around it. Now I cut it exactly to the same dimension as the width of this piece. So I will just trim it just a tiny bit. I want to make it just maybe 1/16 smaller. So I'm gonna do this on both sides. You really don't have to do that. And now I'm gonna angle from that score. I will angle just a bit on both sides and on this one also. This is gonna give us this nicer finish. And now ideally I would take maybe pen, pencil, whatever you want to hold it in there. So when we glue it, you want to have some idea how big this pocket is going to have to be. So this is pretty much what I have done in here. So if you want, you can just make it a little line, so at least you have an idea where this is going to go. We will apply glue to this flap right here. And now I will position this just like that, just to make sure it's nice and straight. And now I will make sure that this is stuck, just like that. So one is done. We're gonna do the same thing to the other one. Now the other one, it's a small packet. I don't know what you want to use this for, so I don't have really anything to kind of test it and try it out, but I would suggest to use about the same dimension as you used in here. So for example, this one overlaps up to here, so I would do probably the same thing and glue it so it is kind of proportional. So to me it seems like this top is going to be almost even with this piece. So at least this is giving you some type of guide how to position this. So I'm going to position about even, just to make sure, just like that. Let's make sure that this is stuck. And here are our two packets. Now to finish those two packets, I used Velcro dots, and because the packets are small, I used only half a Velcro on each one. I don't really think that you need any more than that. So Actually, before I do that, I like the corners to be rounded. So let me just round these corners. If you don't have corner rounder, you can just take the scissors and just trim it around. It's pretty much the same result. Okay, so now I am gonna apply those glue dots or Velcro dots. Just like that, and then when we close it, they will get stuck just like this. So now you can see that we can put our pencils here and we have no issue closing them. And we're gonna apply Velcro right here. I try to position them on the middle, but sometimes they move just a little bit. So here is the second one. I will just make sure that this is stuck on both sides. Now, since I got Velcro out, I applied Velcro to the cover. And this one goes on the top, just like that. So when you close it, when you're positioning Velcro, make sure that you are closing this straight. And now I'm just gonna squish it just a little bit to make sure it adheres, and it does. So now the only thing we are missing is really the space for the pen. And for that, I am gonna use just leftover piece that I have of this blue, and I will cut approximately 2 inches. It doesn't have to be really exact. So I think it's easier just to score this, and this way you don't have to keep measuring. So we're gonna score the long way. We're gonna score at 1 inch, and this way we're gonna score at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5, 2, and 2.5. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels. So whatever you have, that last score right here, this is where we will cut. Now you can fold this in half, and you can see that the paper adjusts itself. Right here, when you fold it, it seems like I scored in a half, but paper just adjusts, and that's going to be on the bottom, on the inside, on the bottom. So I am going to glue this together. Just like that. And now I will trim it, because again, the paper, the way it folds, it does whatever it wants to do. So I want to make sure that everything is nicely squared away. And now I will just fold them. I am almost making this square. If you look from this side, this is what I'm trying to create, this little square. I think that this is really the simplest and easiest way to create pencil or pen holder. So I'm gonna apply glue right here, and we will glue this. And just squish it a little bit. So I'm paying attention to the top. I want to make sure that everything is squared away. And I will take my bone folder and kind of try to help this, just to make sure that everything is stuck. And you see how quickly that was? So pencil holder doesn't have to be really complicated. So what we're gonna do, when you close this, right, if this is how it's closed, you want to make sure that you position this so it lays kind of on this side, which means we're not going to center this, we're going to position this towards the side and a little bit higher. So when you put your pen, and I just had it and lost it, here I put it, okay. So when you put your pen on the inside, you want to make sure that it's not going to bottom out. That's why we're going to put it a little bit towards the top. And we're going to glue this portion where we have the two pieces glued together. That's where I'm applying the glue. And I'm going to apply towards the side. Just like that. So when we close it, we really not going to have any issue with hitting any of the pages. So I guess this is the trick for the holder. So now when I put the pen or pencil and I close it, you can see that it fits right here, right underneath that cover. See? So now the only thing left is really to decorate this. Okay, so now we can do some decoration if that's what you like. I got some little catapults that I will use. I just had them and I picked them for this project. I think it just will fit the theme. This one, Make Magic Happen. So I'm gonna apply this one. Right here, kinda on the middle. Make magic happen. Then I have Spread Your Wings and Fly. I thought it would look nice right here. Now I have this one. It's not in the stars to hold our destiny, but ourselves, by Shakespeare. I thought this would be nice in here, but maybe not. Maybe it's gonna be too much. So in here, if you like, maybe this one we can put it right here. Or we can put something like this to match these colors. I think I'm gonna keep this one. By Shakespeare. And I will place it just like that. It doesn't have to be on the middle. It can be wherever you decide it to be. So now we have, and you can see that this pen holder, it is quite large. You can even put your marker in here. So this is our project. So I am so happy that this one actually worked out just fine, no electric loss, and you could see me working on the whole entire project. So, two Velcros. When we open up, you can see the small packet, large packet for our pens, pencils, markers. You can put anything you want in here. We got our weekly planner. We have our little sticky notes, and we have our notepad. I love the sticky notes. If you make any notes and you want to come back to it, I think it's so handy to have those right in here. So it's so easy to find the space you're looking for or you need to get back to. And we got our pen, marker, pencil holder. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I hope you enjoyed it, and please hit like, comment, share, subscribe. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I hope to see you really soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is our finished project. So you got the small packet, you got the large packet for your pens, pencils. We got a weekly planner. We got our sticky notes. We got our little flags, which I think this is just such an awesome idea to mark your pages. If you need to get back to them at some point, you know exactly where to go, and it's very easy to find them. We do have a space for the marker, pen, whatever you want. This is really nice size. So I hope you like that project. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I would really appreciate if you would hit that like button, share, comment, subscribe. It would really help me. Again, thank you so much for spending your time to watch my video, and I hope to see you really soon.